Hey guys, it's Brittany. So today we're going to go over Aphorisms 9 and 10. It's very exciting. We're getting to 10. Only like a year and a half after I started doing these videos, so that's okay. Aphorism 9, we start looking more at what it means to be healthy. Now, to jog your memory, in the first couple aphorisms, 1, 2, 3, he's talking about, what does it mean to be a physician? What's the highest ideal of a cure? What do we have to know in order to be a good physician, in order to heal people? And then we start getting into lifestyle in Aphorism 4. We start going into some tips about how far back in time you have to go in Aphorism 5, understanding the different phases of disease in Aphorism 5, and then talking about symptoms. So in Aphorism 6, only pay attention to symptoms, not, like the person's personality necessarily. And Aphorism 7, we need to take the totality of symptoms in order to understand the entire disease. And Aphorism 8, if you remove all of those symptoms, then the person is cured. Like, that's the definition of being cured. So then in Aphorism 9, we start going into more of what it means to be healthy, not just removing all of the symptoms, but what health really looks like. So let's read. So in the healthy condition of man, the spiritual vital force or autocracy, the dynamis that animates the material body or organism, rules with unbounded sway and retains all parts of the organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operation as regards both sensations and functions, so that our indwelling, reason-gifted mind can freely employ this living, healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence. First, let's go over a couple terms. So autocracy is a government that's headed by one person who has absolute power. So it's like a dictator, right? So basically your vital force is a dictator over your body when you're healthy. Okay, so then dynamis, as far as I can understand, because it's one of those words that I think has been tainted by homeopathy. Like, if you look up the definition, everything has to do with homeopathy because we're the only ones who use this term, is a power or force, like the vital force. So so he often does this where he'll say one thing, one way, and then repeat himself with different words. So he is the spiritual vital force autocracy, and then he equates that with the dynamis that animates the material body. So he's saying the same thing twice. Spiritual vital force autocracy equals the dynamis that animates the material body or organism. Okay? So it's the same thing twice. So it rules with unbounded sway, as in the autocracy. Again, he's repeating himself. But so then we have this idea that it maintains us in balance. So the point of the vital force when it's healthy is that it keeps us in homeostasis. Is basically what we would call it now. It keeps us in balance. And the way we know that is that we employ this reason-gifted mind for a higher purpose of our existence. Okay? So what is that higher purpose? He does not define it here, but multiple people, and I think this is valid, point to the preface of chronic disease. So we're going to take a little detour to the preface of chronic disease. If I did not know for what purpose I was put here on earth, to become better myself as far as possible and to make better everything around me that is within my power to improve, I should have to consider myself as lacking very much in worldly prudence to make known for the common good, even before my death, an art which I alone possess and which it is within my power to make as profitable as possible by simply keeping it a secret. So in other words, he's saying, I could have not told anybody about homeopathy because then I would be the only homeopath and I'd become filthy rich because I'd be the only one in the world making people better. But that my purpose on this earth is to make everybody and everything around me as better as possible, to be of service. And that's what he's saying our higher purpose is in life, is to be of service to others. So in Aphorism 9, if you are kept in balance enough that you are able to be of service to the people around you, to the community around you, then you are healthy. Okay, so we're taking it in Aphorism 8 from just an absence of symptoms to Aphorism 9 being able to perform a higher service, to be of good in this world. So we haven't talked about vital force before. So the vital force is first talked about in Aphorism 6, and basically it's that force that allows us to heal, to stay in balance. So one teacher I had described it as that thing that, if you cut your hand, will heal your hand. And this, I think, it's very messy because we have such a great understanding of the mechanics of healing these days, right? Like, we know all these different cells and chemicals that are involved with the healing process, and so it can be very hard to go to that vitalistic point of view that Hahnemann had sometimes, depending on who you are. If you have a vitalistic inclination anyway, then this is very easy. But if you have a mechanical understanding of healing, this is a hard place to go to, but it's that force that creates healing in the body. And it's different than the vital principle, which we will see in Aphorism 10. So let's get to Aphorism 10. Okay. The material organism without the vital force is capable of no sensation, no function, no self-preservation. It derives all sensation and performs all the functions of life solely by means of the immaterial being, the vital principle, which animates the material organism in health and disease. The idea of a vital force and a vital principle is straight out of vitalistic thinking, as you might imagine. So you can look it up in your own time, but just know that you should understand vitalistic thinking even if you are a more mechanistic person, because it helps us understand what Hahnemann was talking about, even if you're not super into vitalistic thinking. Okay? Now, the vital principle, the way Joe Kellerstein defines it, which is a definition I like, is that the vital principle is like life itself, whereas the vital force is that force that goes around and does all of the work that the vital principle needs done, right? So if the vital principle is what animates you, what makes you alive, then the force is what keeps you in balance, in health, okay? And is keeping you alive, basically, because without balance, to an extreme extent, you are dead, right? If your blood pH gets outside of that super narrow range that it's allowed to be in, then you die pretty fast. Okay, so the vital force is keeping you in that balance, and without that balance, you are dead, as he says in Aphorism 10. Okay, so that's that for Aphorism 9 and 10. Till next time, bye.